Well, Anya, I suppose that the first thing is to commend.
Can't deliver climate change at the level needed. Where are examples of that in this legislation, in your view?
Well, I think, first of all, to say that the targets are not good enough, and then the framework around which the targets are meant to be achieved are very loose. And it was mentioned there already that there's problems with the language of the bill, and the commitments that it puts on a minister or the government is very weak. So it's peppered with language like insofar as is practicable, and it doesn't actually commit the government to reaching year-on-year targets as was promised in the programme for government. So I honestly believe that you're going to have a real difficulty, particularly when you look at the special place given to methane and biogenic methane in this, which is basically saying that industrial agriculture, the production of dairy and cattle at the rate that we do it, will not be touched. We will not be challenging agribusiness in the way that's needed to do. And I'm not talking about the family farm and the average, small to medium farmer here. I'm talking about the big food producers, and we all know who they are. They go unchallenged, and there is no special place for methane if you want to reduce emissions. Methane is traps heat for a shorter period of time, it's true, but it traps it at a greater intensity. So we have to take on the vested interests of not just the agribusiness, but also the fossil fuel industry. There's no commitment, for example, to ban the importation of liquefied natural gas or fracked gas. That has to be contained in it, and it's been evaded by the government and by the structures of this bill. And that is why I say I don't believe the Green Party might feel this is the best yet, working with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, but you can't fool nature and you can't fool the climate. The climate will not feel this is the best that we can do to stop the planet overheating by 2 degrees. We have to do more, and we have to do it sooner. And we have to do, as has been said, bring people with us. Okay. And that includes the people of rural Ireland. We have to have a just transition that isn't just about the energy industry, but is about the agri-industry. It's about communities. It's about board and Mona workers. It's about farmers. We have to bring people with us in a way that they don't suffer, but they actually see the benefit of how we do it.
So, Brian Ledden, the Minister can override the Dáil on those.
Yeah, I mean, the bill is weak in this, and we had a letter this week from eminent scientists and academics who pointed this out to us very carefully. And I think we need to listen to them. In fact, I wanted them to be brought back into the committee to address us, because what they were looking at was the second draft of the bill. And so there was more stuff to be said. And I think we really do have to listen to these eminent scientists on these issues. But just there are so many ways that this is going to be very hard to challenge, because even somebody mentioned bus connects there. Well, some of the bus connect routes are going to be privatised out. Now, we had witnesses into the Oireachtas committee recently from around Europe and Scotland, where there have been experiments with free public transport, which have proved to be absolutely fantastic in taking cars off the road and improving city life and country life and all the rest of it. And they have said that it won't work if you privatise public transport, because privatisation, by definition, goes after where the money is. Whereas if public transport is privatised on a scale that can take cars off the road, that's what's required. That means you're going to have to challenge companies that want to make lots of profit out of climate change, whether they're energy companies, transport companies, or agri-industrial business. They're going to have to be politically challenged. And Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will not do that.
All right. I want to come to before we go. And Bríd, you know, that point, that vote by the Assembly, 95% saying we would be willing to pay higher taxes for a more just and equal and caring society. Now, there's a lot in Leinster House and some of the other parties saying that's just a pandemic citizens' assembly. It had gone to their head. Do you believe it? Do you think it's true?
No, I argue for taxes being raised all the time. People before profit constantly argue for increasing taxes on profits, increasing taxes on corporations that are making vast profits in this country, and crucially increasing the employers' PRSI contributions. In this country, the employers pay the lowest PRSI contribution of the whole of the EU, and that is what goes into the social fund that will look after the tremendous work done by our thousands and thousands of carers across the country, and they absolutely need to be paid properly, to have a pension, and to have recognition that they actually
so
do.
So the Assembly is singing your song in that regard. Very briefly, Owen O'Brien, do you think